Alright, before starting the stream, I want to explain a bunch of things so you are not missing out. Now in the following stream, we're not going to go over how to install CommandoVM. We're going to go over how to customize CommandoVM. If you want to learn more on how you can pretty much install that system on your Windows VM, you can click the link into the video description or onto the top right corner. Now when you have CommandoVM, as mentioned, that's our starting point. From this point on, the stream is going to show you how to customize it into that thing you see on the screen. Now, first things first, what's special about that thing you see on the screen? Now, the first thing is that we mimic i3VM as much as possible. That means that we may have different workspaces, like that. We may want to open multiple windows per workspace, stack them as we want. We can resize them as we want. And as mentioned, we can have multiple workspaces. Like here, I can open Explorer. On workspace 3, I can open maybe a browser. On 2, I can open maybe a Visual Studio. And this is gonna, I think for me, works and it boosts my productivity super much. So that's the first thing we're gonna actually install. An i3 alternative, but for Windows. Now the next thing we're gonna install is that beautiful top bar, which helps us so much. Now on the right hand side of the top bar, we have our IP address. And I'm always frustrated when I have to open terminal, plug that, do ipconfig, copy the IP and paste it over. This way, it's not needed anymore because I have it there. We have some kind of system resources like RAM, CPU, and how much disk space we have. And nonetheless, we have on the left-hand side a super easy snippet which allows us to navigate to directory super easy, a built-in process hacker, you just click it and you have it on the go, and of course a mobile extern in case we need some kind of a session, remote session, terminal, tunneling, or perhaps port forwarding. Now I think that's going to be enough for Malware, but keep in mind that all the configurations you see on the screen is highly customizable. You can do pretty much anything with them. And if you want to learn more about how you can do it, well, stick by. I'm going to teach you. So let's just start. Before starting, I want to say first massive thanks to all of my patrons for doing the support for my work. I highly appreciate that. And because they're my patrons, they have access to internal documentations, internal projects like my Reborn packer, Count2 agent, and so on, and also internal know-how. So if you appreciate my work and want to support me, you can become a patron, get access to tools, get access to documentation, get access to internal videos. So we are both happy. All right. Now, as mentioned, we're gonna customize the developer profile, and I'm gonna start with that. Now, usually I'm gonna go with the same customization whereas I have for my real Windows system. So if you pay close attention in my real system, it's not Windows 10, but we can use pretty much same things on it, and we can pretty much customize that onto the CommandoVM. Okay. Now, the thing you see here is called Yasb Reborn. So for the customization part, we're gonna use mainly two things. Now the first thing we're gonna use is called GlazeWM. Now if you watched my Kali view customization video, you paid maybe attention that I'm a huge i3 fan. And why I'm an i3 fan? Because I think i3 gives you a super efficient when you get used to how the UI works. And I'm trying to mimic the same thing with Windows as I'm using Kali. So no matter if I'm on a Windows system or on a Kali system, I have the same keybinds, I have the same operation workflow, I have the same pretty much UI, which makes to me super easy. So I can use one set of skills for both the Windows VM and the Linux VM, which is so nice. Now, we have a message in the chat. I don't know why the chat is not visible though. That's why. Okay, now it is. So we have a message after Windows 10 support ends. I'm still going to use this for pen test or switch to Windows 11. Now it depends. I can at some point switch to Windows 11. To be honest, I'm waiting for the CommandoVM to finish with their Windows 11 support. Because if you go to CommandoVM, scroll a little bit down, you can see it's supported on Windows 10 and Windows 11 is tested. But where was it? I'm not sure exactly. Yeah. So for now, CommandoVM is fully operational for the Windows 10, and since it's operational, I'm gonna stick to it until CommandoVM release for Windows 11 comes by. Okay. So that's gonna be my pen testing and malware machine. That's my point. Okay. Now, as mentioned, we're gonna mainly need two tools to make our environment looks like i3, feels like i3, and be as efficient as i3. Now, usually I'm not type of guy who gonna spawn a lot of windows, a lot of tabs, and make everything a chaos. I'm the type of guy who likes to be structured in his desktop, like everything to be in place, and know where anything where exactly it is. So the first thing is GlazeVM. This is gonna give us our IT experience. It's gonna give us the auto tiling. It's gonna give us the new windows with, for example, Alt 1, 2, 3, 4. You're gonna switch panes, and this is gonna give us the IT experience. And we need one more, which is called Yasb Reborn. And this Yasb Reborn thing is actually give us the top bar you can see here. Now the cool thing about Yasb Reborn is it's super customizable. You can essentially do anything on it. You can change a lot of themes. You can integrate that with CoreMI, which was another uh, GlazeVM alternative. You can integrate that with GlazeVM. You can integrate that with a lot of options. You can run specific commands to get your IPs. You can pinpoint specific binaries like so. There's an endless opportunity for customization. So that's what we're going to use. First, we're going to install GlazeVM, then we're going to install Yasb Reborn and pretty much customize it with the predefined code snippets I have for you guys. So I've already prepared myself. This is the configuration for my Windows 11 system for the Yasb Reborn part. And I'm also gonna migrate with also the GlazeVM and I'm gonna copy it over and so on. Okay. Now, first things first, let's observe few things we're gonna need. As a CommandoVM users, we need a bunch of things in order to be efficient when it comes to malware. The first thing we need is, of course, Visual Studio. Why? Because we're gonna use it for coding on C, coding on C#, and essentially, if you use these languages on Windows system, Visual Studio is the way to go. Of course, we're gonna also need Visual Studio Code, that one. We're gonna also need things like API monitor, which is pre-built into developer profile. But we're gonna also need the process hacker 2, which is not built, and we need to install that. So let's go and do process hacker 2, download that on SourceForge, accept, and download the software. I think it's super nice to have it when it comes to malware because it essentially allows you to see a lot of things going on. It has a nice UI, and I'm using it all the time. For me, just super efficient. Now, of course, depending on your needs, you may want to perhaps have different kind of software. Yeah, just next. But for me, it's just that. So maybe I would include a debugger, I would include sysinternals, but that's something you guys all know and not gonna bother that much with it. All right. So now we have the tools we need. I can update it later. That's no worries. We have the tools we need now. So we have our IDEs. We have process hacker, and API monitor. Make sure you also have Python, like that. Go is also an option. It's also nice to have Go, so that's also thing you need to have in order to be efficient. But let's take that a little bit away because we're not here to discuss the tools itself, but how to make the desktop efficient. But first, guys, it's always important to have your tools in place. So when you install CommandoVM, always make sure you have everything you need. If you're gonna do malware, make sure you have all the languages, all the environment is set up, and you are ready to go. Okay. Now with that, let's first start and download GlazeWM. So I'm going to download the latest release on June 18th. So go there, scroll a little bit down and do the standard installer is fine. So download that, run it, and the installation is very simple. Just run. And here it's important. Now, Zebar is another open source project which comes bundled with GlazeVM. And Zebar is essentially a nice and lightweight bar, which you can see like that. It looks like that. It's not bad. I can say it's alright. It takes super less resources, but it's not that highly customizable as Yasb Reborn. And also another bot is based on JavaScript, which I hate. So if you guys want to code a little bit on JS, you can go and play around with Zebar. But me personally, I find it frustrating, so I decided to move out of it. But of course, you can try it out. Now for me, I will disable that because I don't want that. Install and let that thing finish. Alright, install, finish, there it is. And now if we start GlazeVM, I'm gonna run that. Actually not the installer, but the installed software, which I'm not sure where it is. Did I install that? Or something happened? I'm not sure. GlazeVM is there. The Windows search at its finest. Alright, let me try to find it. I'm gonna open Explorer, go to maybe C, program files, glzr.io is usually the name of the placeholder for GlazeVM and ZBar. So both are here. Run GlazeVM, and there it is. Alright. We have a bunch of errors because it by default wanted to see ZBar, but it's not there, obviously. That's why we have these errors, but we're gonna fix them, no worries. Now we have the GlazeVM, and actually it was not started because of ZBar. So because of that, let's now find the configuration for GlazeVM, fix that, and start it. Now from there, if you go to your home folder, in my case it's home C users LSEC, you're gonna find .glzr, and that's where all the configuration for both GlazeVM and ZBar are. So here you can go and see config YAML, and of course the walk with errors. Now here I'm gonna open that with Visual Studio Code and search for the ZBar because I want to disable it. Now there, remove the copilot, we don't want that. Do ZBar. I'm gonna remove everything which comes with ZBar. Startup command, we don't want that. Perhaps I'm gonna comment it because we maybe use it as an example for some other commands. So let me find other examples. Post shutdown commands. I'm also gonna remove that. Okay, and that's fine. So I'm gonna save now the config, go back to GlazeVM where it was here, start it, and now it works. So you can see that it automatically tiles the windows, and we're gonna start to feel a little bit of fighting experience, but we are far from ready. So now you can try to resize, you can see that here, you can resize it that way, and so on. I can do, for example, Alt Enter, spawn a CMD, spawn it on the bottom, do it like that, and so on. You get the idea. Okay. Now this is the config file of the GlazeVM. Now here we can tweak pretty much anything about it. We can do borders, we can do shortcut key combination, we can do rules. So let's say you want a window to always be on a specific workspace, and you can do rules here, right? But now it's kind of looks like bad because we're missing the bar, and we're not seeing much for potential for that. So let's go and install Yasb Reborn. Let's go here, go to the Yasb Reborn, go to releases again. It was updated last week. Scroll down and find the MSI installer. So run it. Okay, that's fine. Next. Okay, there it is, finish. Perfect. Now if we do Yasb Reborn, you can see the binary is there. You can simply run it. We can see that there's an issue that we miss some fonts, so we can go ahead and install them. So from there you can do, which one was it? Please install the missing font, JetBrains Mono. Yeah, there it is, Nerd font, download it. This is gonna download the zip archive. Then from here you can simply extract here. And now just mark all of them like that. And you can click enter, that's it. Or right click and install. There it is, should be fine now. So now in theory I can remove that, start it again, and we need also this font. Okay, let's go and install that. Sigoe Fluent Icons. I think he's that. Hello, Raito75, how are you doing, mate? What's the idea here? I don't remember installing that to Windows 11. Maybe it has it built in? I see that for the first time, but never mind. Yeah, there it is. On Windows 11, there's nothing you need to do. The font comes with Windows. On Windows 10, it's not included. You can download it here. Okay. Which one we're gonna need? So, Fluent Icons. There it is. Okay. There it is. Now I think we need to do the same thing. So just for simplicity, I'm gonna remove everything like that. And now again, extract the same way. So 7-zip, extract here. Oh, it's not that much that time. So run it, install. All right, should be fine now. So let me try restarting the Yasb Reborn. Are we gonna complain about something now? No, and it works nice. Okay, so that was the steps for Windows 10. And I think that was useful because me myself, I did not know that requirement, but now I do. Okay. So now we have a nicely looking bar, which can be fully customized. I mean, fully customized. You can have anything on here with a little bit of YAML and CSS. Now, the first thing about Yasb is it allows you to pretty much have a lot of themes right off the bat. So we can go to the Yasb, then right click and get themes, and pretty much choose one that you like. Let's see. Now some of the themes are having a built-in integration with GlazeWM, like that. Some of the themes have built-in integration with CommandoVM-powered. I'm not sure. Yeah, CommandoVM. Sorry, yeah, that's how. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but you get the idea. So that thing is essentially, as mentioned, the GlazeVM alternative. So you can also take a look at that. But I so far did not set it up. Don't know how it works. Cannot say anything about it. Yeah, so we can choose between a team. I'm not sure which team was mine, to be honest. You can go with, let's see, Dark North. That's a good team I have. It also has a integrated Glaze VM there. There's also Fluency, that's not bad. I mean, that really depends on you guys. That's not something important, but it's not something important, but I'm looking for something that I'm gonna enjoy. That's also one thing. Minimal glaze, that's also one thing which is nice. And that's also one thing, Yasp 3, which is nice. Let's go for that. So let's go for this one, I think. That should be fine. Or the black one. I really don't know what to choose. So these are the themes. I'm thinking between that, and that. Let me try both, right? All of them. So let me go and install minimal glaze. Let's run that. Install. Then you're gonna do install anyway. It says that it requires some fonts and so on, but I think it looks quite nice. So this is now the new bar we have. Let me try the Yasp 3. Actually install. You can directly install that. Install. And there it is, we have it now. So I think this is better now, because usually the whole background is black. And if we go for the previous one like that, it creates some kind of, I think it's not that good. Yeah, it blends out. However, that's also a good one. I mean, I like both of them. What do you guys think? Tell me in the chat. You prefer the black one or the Yasp 3? minimal grace. Alright, let's go for it now. I'm gonna install one more, this Yasb 2 dynamic, and I'm gonna see how it looks like. So install that. I think that's better. But we have some kind of a messed up icons there. I'm not sure if that's because of a font or something else, but I like this one. Actually, I like this one better. Yeah. Alright, so let's see. We can also go for there's one guy for minimal grace, one for Yasp 3. Let's see which one. I'm not sure. I'm gonna spin a wheel. Let's do it. I'm really not sure which one to choose. Random wheel. Let's go with yeah, Yasp 3. Come on. We're gonna go with minimal grace and Yasp 2. Let's do it. Click to spin and Yasp 2. We're gonna use that. All right. So let's go here. Install that. Yeah, see that. That's crazy. All right. If we can't fix these icons, we're gonna remove them either way. All right. Now let's start by customizing the team, because the team is just a base, and now from that base we can do pretty much a lot of customization. And now how do you do customization is actually super easy, and I didn't expect it to be that easy. Now we can go to the Yasp Reborn repository. You can see where it is. Yeah, here. You can scroll to the main side of the repository, scroll a little bit down, and you can see all the integration that Yasp Reborn has. It can do all of these things at once, which is so badass. So I'm eager to show you guys what that thing is capable of. So here I'm gonna go to code and first make my team, because I don't like the default teams. I don't like the defaults. So go to team, color scheme, and go to browse. And now I generally like the GitHub dark or the GitHub, not that, not that. Yeah, dimmed. That or that. It depends. So one option is that. So here, and we also have come on, and that. So I think the dark usually is good. Alright, so install GitHub Dark, then also go with again teams and file icon teams. Now again go to install, and I usually go with the material icon team. I generally like this one. So trust installer, yeah, trust all things, don't worry. Alright, set it up, and now we're good. Now I think the whole thing looks much better. Now I can open folder, go to my home folder again. Now inside it, I want to find config. Inside config we have Yasp, and there is our config files and CSS are there. Yeah. Now usually you have two files which are important. You have one file which is called config.yaml, and inside are all the widgets that Yasp board has, including its place, where they are, and some configuration for them. Then we also have style CSS, which applies CSS for these modules. Right. So now the first thing I would prefer actually is to pretty much remove the whole CommandoVM thing, because I don't use it. So here I want to search for CommandoVM and pretty much remove it, and also find it on the last place and also remove it from there, like that. Now here on the center, I want to actually move this part which says the current title. I want that to be on the center. So I'm gonna go here with the positions of the objects themselves. And here I want to go to active window. I'm gonna move that to the center here. And now if I save, I have some errors, which I'm not sure what they are. Does it want to be like that? Looks like it. Perfect. And now we have that thing in the center. If you click it, you can see more details like the class name and so on. Now, usually each teams might have different configuration. In terms of my team on Windows 11 do not require these brackets, but this team looks like it does. Okay. Now we have several things. On the left we have a menu, which I want to replace because that's stupid. I don't want to have a menu like a Windows menu because I can simply press the Windows key, but I want to have a shortcut key to my specific folders where I can shortly access super fast. So here we're gonna switch the menu and it works super simple. In the bars, in the main primary section, you can see all the apps in use. So on the left, we have Win, apps. This is the Win, these are the apps. On the center, we have, actually let me make that more beautiful, like that. On the center, we have an active window, which is that. And on the right hand side, we have weather, BAM, something, maybe the current keyboard, layout, and so on, I'm not sure. Some taskbar, volume, power menu, and clock. There it is. So we have three divisions of let's say segments, and each segment might contain different apps. Right. And now I want to replace this menu here. So I'm gonna go to my configuration there. You can see that in my case, I have a folder there. And this folder is not opening the menu like that, but it's opening a section which I can choose and it's gonna lead me directly into this path. So from here, I can see which one is it, it's home, so I can see the home object like that and simply copy it. So I can do it like that, paste it in my CommandoVM, it do not matter where it is. All the customizations, I usually like them to be placed on the very bottom so I know that the last part is mine. And now from there, I can swap the win with home. Run that. As you can see, now you have a folder there. And if you click the folder, you can see the different options like home, downloads, and so on. Which to me is so nice. Now this folder first looks super ugly, so let's make it better. Let's go over style.css, like that. Like that. Now let's copy the settings for our home. So we can do home, and each object has its own class. So essentially, we can define all the CSS settings we need by defining the class. So home, 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 there it is, there's all we have. So go to style CSS, again I follow the same order, I go to the very bottom, don't touch anything else with the theme, and paste my classes there. So now I did save, and now we can see that it looks kind of better, although it's not the one I wanted, because looks like the colors on my teams are far different than this team. So let me try to fix that. I'm not a huge CSS fan, and I usually use ChatGPT for that, but let's see. So we have padding. We can perhaps play around with these settings just to see how it looks like. So I think 4 looks alright. What's that about? 0? Nope. So 4 looks fine, because it was like that, which did not look fine. 4 is alright. Then let's go with the icon. The color is actually fine, I think. It's actually fine. Alright, then go to background color. Let's do transparent. Like that. Didn't work. Not sure why, to be honest. Now, if we click it, that's how we have this background color. So perhaps if I change it like that, click it again, you see this, when I click a button, it's blue now. I don't want that. Now I want to have, let's say, something like that. I think that's better. Now, let me see. This is the font. Let's do white here. Now it's even better. But still doesn't look like that. Do I miss something? I don't think so. Yeah. Okay. I'm a bad CSS, guys. If you have any tips, they're welcome. But let me shoot up ChatGPT with that because I don't want you to spend much time on it. So let's see what ChatGPT just gave me. I was like, hey, you know what? Give me some better CSS so it looks more beautiful. And he gave me a bigger CSS snippet, which I'm gonna use now. I'm gonna paste it, save. And indeed it looks better. Indeed it looks much, much better. I'm happy with that. I don't like these angles there, but for sure I'm happy. So see, ChatGPT is saving us so much time. If I had to call that myself, it's gonna be so much pain. For now, we're gonna live with that. I'm gonna, if we have some times, I'm gonna find a way to make this disappear. But now I'm quite happy with that. So I can click it, go around, and so on. Now, how you can pretty much adjust the folders which you want to open inside the config. If you go to Home, there it is. You have all the folders and the needed folders. In that case, I don't have source, but actually I do have source. Yeah, there it is. Perfect. So of course you can tweak it as you wish. I generally have the home, this downloads, documents. I don't need videos, and essentially the source. And that's it. So if you have more customized folders, just place them there. All right. The next thing we want to tweak are the applications themselves. Now, usually these apps, I think they look fine, but there are some of them which we don't need. For example, the settings. I don't need the settings. I don't need having a quick access to these settings. That's why I can remove it. I don't need the search. I don't need that. I can simply press Windows key and search for something. I don't need to search on there. Now I think that's the task manager. Yeah. I mean it depends on you, but I personally I'm still gonna remove that. Then we have a console which we're gonna swap with something else. It doesn't work actually. We have Discord which also doesn't work, Firefox which should work because we have it there it is. You get the idea. Now, how you swap that? Again, you go to the apps pane, and there you are. You have all the pretty much options for the applications. Now, as mentioned, we don't need quick settings, so I'm gonna remove that. We also don't need the search settings, so I'm gonna also remove that. Now, as you can see, we have some kind of a strange string there. Now, what that string is all about, it's actually a nerd icon. So if you go to nerd font icons, you can go to here, you can go to icons and choose anything. Let's say you choose search. When you choose an icon, you can click on that UTF, and that's pretty much the code you saw inside here. That's this strange string, right? Okay. Now here we have task manager, which we don't need, but we can swap that now with process hacker, right? And now we can use the same icon because I think that looks badass. So in that case, we need to find where process hacker actually is. So for that, open file location, here, open properties, and there it is. And also keep in mind that when you do that, you also have to make sure to use double slashes. So if you do it once, it's not gonna escape the character and you're gonna face some issues. So always do double slashes like that, and always in quotes all the time, like that. Now if we run it, boom, we have the process hacker in our sleeve, ready to go instantly. Perfect. Now you can also see that we can run a command. For example, here you can do cog.exe or cmd.exe, let's say like that. And there it is, you can pretty much run anything. You can run custom PowerShells. You can make scripts for, let's say, remote access. You can make scripts for RDP and so on. And that's how this can be also used for. Now, in that case, we have a terminal. And usually with CommandoVM, you have a thing called CMDR. And I generally work with CMDR and oh yeah, it's not Bloodhound because I forget to rename the session, sorry. It's about customization of Windows. Yeah, my bad. Bloodhound was the past week, the video is uploaded, so if you want to learn more about Bloodhound, you can go to my channel. Yeah, sorry about it. I forgot to rename. Yeah, yeah, sorry. It's on YouTube. If you want to see Bloodhounds, you can find the video there. Sorry once again. This is about Windows customization. Okay. Now, here, I generally, as mentioned, I want to use CMDR. So I have many benefits to it. And I think for Malware purposes and for CommandoVM in general, that's the best terminal out there. Why? Let me explain in short session. Now, CMDR has many profiles and usually runs bash underneath. It can run bash command. So you can do things like ID, you can do LSLA, but more importantly, you can do things like grep, you can do things like widget, you can do things like diff, you can do things like, let's say, pipes. You can also pipe as a standard command. For example, you can have some kind of a string like ls, and you can do again grep videos. There it is, you can see it, and it works super nice. Or you can do also do sudo remove reference. I mean, you don't have sudo by the way, but yeah, you can also remove files and folders. So I generally like it for that reason. If you need some kind of a bash tweaks for, let's say, cut, it also has cut. So if you have, let's say, a string of, let's do tests, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, you can do cut delimiter with space, format 1, you can get the I don't know what was the problem now. So now it works, but when I use it like a pipe, it doesn't. I'm not sure, to be honest. Can I do it with cat? So can I do cat end user that's like that? Yeah, now it works. Okay, perfect. So with cat it can work. So maybe the echo broke it. I'm not sure why. But essentially the idea is that with this terminal, you can run pretty much bash commands, which is super useful, on top of your Windows command. So if there's a binary, you can execute it. You can do cog.exe, and it's gonna run it like that. So on the one hand side, you can execute all of your Windows binaries and systems. You can test your malware, but you can also run Linux commands and essentially do crazy things like XXD and so on. So I love it so much. The next reason why I love it so much is because if you go to settings, or actually if you want to start a new one, by Control T, you can see that you have a bunch of options on how to start. You can define your profiles and so on, but you have the option to run it as another user. So a lot of the times when you're on engagement and you're doing, let's say, recon, or you want to do lateral movement or some exploitation, sometimes you need to escalate and run something as another user. And here it gives you super easy interface to work with. You just define your user, define your password, and it's gonna run all the command for you. So you don't need to always run net only, run as, and so on. It's gonna run it for you. So I think that's so nice. You have the standard splitting of the screen. It's also highly customizable, and I just enjoy it. So usually what I do is I go for CMDR, I go to open file location, and I pin that to my taskbar. There it is. So now I can start it, and there it is, I can work from it. So usually from the bottom, I have my own Go terminal, and on the top hand side, I have something like mobile extern for SSH connections, which I can simply run super fast and go and do my SSH connections. So let's do it. I can install MobileXterm super fast, download it, do get MobileXterm now, free edition, installer edition, and so on. And why I use MobileXterm is, as mentioned, for SSH connection and accessing my environment. It has a lot of options though. You can do tunnels with it, you can do port forward with it, you can do a lot of crazy stuff. There's also portable edition. So I always keep a MobileXterm on my sleeve in case I need some quick access to somewhere. And you can save your sessions so you don't need to manually type them. That's why I like about MobileXterm. So again, here you can do extract here, and again run the installer. It's simple as that. Make note of the folder, finish, go inside this folder, and navigate your mobextern.exe. Then go to your Yasb Reborn configuration, and pretty much specify the binary. Like that. So here, yep, there it is. Run it. So now if I open the terminal box, I'm gonna have MobileXterm ready. There it is. And usually you can save your sessions from there and quickly navigate and access them. So that's the main idea of that. There it is. Boom, new session, and you get the idea. So I have one terminal on go for all the actions I do, and I have a MobileXterm if I need some kind of a port forward, let's say a session and so on. Easy. Then I don't want Discord. I can do more things here like API monitor. Let's do it like that. I'm going to also remove Firefox. I'm going to also remove Discord because now you got the idea. And in order to save some time, I'm going to stick with these two options for now. We have Process Hacker, MobileXterm. Here on the bottom, we have Visual Studio, we have our terminal, and essentially all the, let's say, temporary window we have open. Right. Okay, perfect. Now the central part is fine. I want to see the active window I'm on, and that's needed because, for example, if I open a console and I switch with my i3 keys with GlazeWM on it, I can see the icon on top and I can see the active window which I'm using at the moment. So that is pretty much useful for me. Now on the left hand side, I don't really care about the weather. We are here to do Malware and not to see if we're gonna have a storm. So I'm gonna pretty much get rid of a lot of things. Now on the right, I can simply remove them from the main pane instead of completely deleting them. So I don't need the clock, I don't need the power menu, and I don't need the volume, I don't need the taskbar. I can get rid of all these settings like that. Okay, perfect. But now what I do need is to have my IP address there, have my disk there, and perhaps some maybe resources about CPU and about RAM. So let's do that. Now the first things first, I want to have my IP address. So there I can go to my Yasp config, I can go to IP info section, and there it is. So actually that's my external IP info, and I want to see where is the local IP info. So let's see. Actually, that's it. Oh yeah, there it is. I'm actually getting the local IP address with PowerShell, and I retrieve it. All right, perfect. So I'm gonna copy that IP info part. I'm gonna again place it in the very bottom. No, it's mine, custom, and so on. Make sure the YAML settings are fine actually. So that was an issue. Now that's correct. It's like a indentation like Python. Now I can pretty much save that. I don't need the callbacks to be honest. Well, actually I do. Yeah, never mind. So here, instead of weather, or actually I'm gonna save the weather, next to it, instead of that, I'm gonna do IP info and save it. And now here we don't have much. I'm not exactly sure what's actually going on. So let me debug it. Hmm. I have no clue what's there. Let me try to find something about CSS. No, there is not. Alright. So the thing you see working on my machine apparently do not work here. That's strange. Is the command legit? I mean, it should be. No, it's not. That's why it fails. Because if we do... Yeah, that's why it fails. Let's Google to fix it. What's wrong? Yeah, it's wrong because I don't have Wi-Fi adapter there. It's not Wi-Fi. Because if you do get PowerShell, if you do get net IP address, you can see the interface. I don't have an IP address, the Wi-Fi interface, because I'm not using Wi-Fi. In my laptop, I'm using Wi-Fi. That's why it can resolve the IP. But in that case, we need to use Ethernet. But I'm not sure which one exactly. Not the OpenVPN. Yeah, this one. Should be this one. Yeah, there it is. It's this one. Okay. So in that case, I can modify that to be Ethernet 0, save, and now there it is. Okay, we have the IP address. Okay, now it do not look that good. We have this black text, so perhaps I can copy the CSS for the weather. And essentially, I can do the same thing for my IP. So in that case, the class name is called IP info widget. So I can simply copy it, paste it there. Save. Alright, nothing happened. What if I do the same class as the weather? What class is that? Hmm. Nah, didn't work. Now if you go to the documentation of Yasb, you're gonna see actually, because at the end we used a custom widget, and for the custom widget, which is here, you can see CSS a CSS virus like that. And now I maybe wanna go with ChatGPT again. Let me try it. Let's copy the CSS template. I'm gonna also do a screenshot of these two segments. ChatGPT is way advanced for that. You can just give it a screenshot. You can give it a code snippet, like I have this in my config, this in my CSS. You're gonna give it a screenshot that it looks not good, and I think he's gonna be fine at resolving what actually happens. So let's see. So he gave us some custom widgets CSS, which I think we can apply for our name. So in that case, I'm gonna place that. Oh, it worked actually. Alright, I'm not sure why. Now I can tweak that a little bit. but I must want to first make sure to know what exactly is where. Okay, box shadow. Alright. Yeah, okay, we don't want that background cover, that's fine. I want to remove these two actually. Or make it transparent. Nah, that's bad. Alright. Yeah, you get the idea. We're not gonna spend that much time on it, to be honest. Of course, if you get to this point, you can then tweak your CSS at your will and do it as you wish. We're not gonna spend that much time debugging CSS. At least do not make much sense. So at that point, I'm gonna clear up the weather because I don't want to have the weather, and we're gonna have just the IP address. And now I want to include, as mentioned, CPU, memory, and GlazeVM workspaces. So for that to happen, I'm gonna go again to the Yasb Reborn, go to CPU, there it is, and simply copy paste the code. So there, copy, go to my code, go down, and paste it there. Yeah, there it is. Okay, CPU, now this needs to be tapped once. And now here I can, next to the IP info on the left, I can do CPU, like that. Save. There it is, perfect. Now we can also copy the CSS, the default CSS from there. We can adjust it if we need. I can use pretty much the same CSS settings as ChatGPT gave me. So exactly, I can copy the custom widgets as here. I'm gonna simply save them for the CPU. I don't think there's a class for it, so I can, yeah, CPU widget. All right, that's what I needed. Now go back and simply replace that with CPU widget, CPU widget. All right. Save. There it is. We have it again. Now, do we need it actually? Actually, no. But also can be alright with it. Now I want to also make sure that it's actually not that. Make this white. I want to make this icon white. Hmm. I'm not sure why. Where is that exact option? Hmm. Yeah, never mind. Again, we're not gonna debug that many CSS now. In the off time, I'm gonna make it better. There it is. Developer. Can you use Yasb to replace the default Windows icon activate? Yes, you can. I think you can. And see that? That's an upgrade. There it is. I just pinpoint Discord on it. So you can go to Yasp again, go to Systray, and you can see how to set it up. It's exactly the same thing. You can copy that, tweak it if you want, and this is some sample CSS. You're gonna have also Systray like that. And it's quite useful to me, to be honest. There it is. And you can pinpoint icons, make this button invisible, and you have a nice Systray going on. It's on the top. So it's so nice. Now, we have the CPU. Let's add the memory. So let's go back and do memory back here. I don't need media and all that kind of stuff because I'm using a CommandoVM. I'm not gonna play videos on it. So that again, same procedure. Copy the memory part. Go there. Paste. This needs to be tapped once. And now on here, I can also add memory after the CPU. Like that. And boom, now we have the memory. We can also add the same CSS to not be that bad, that ugly I can say. Paste it there. You can see the name of the CSS to be like memory widget, like that. Now here, again, swap that, swap that, swap that, swap that, that, and that. Make sure the comment is memory so we know, oh, here is for the memory, and there it is, we have it. And now the last thing we're gonna need is actually the GlazeVM workspaces. That's the last part of the equation. So, which is one of the most important. So now again do GlazeWM. You can go with binding modes. That's this arrow explaining if you open a window where it's gonna appear. We're gonna also need that. That's the tiling direction, sorry. We need the workspace and the tiling directions. So let's go and add the workspaces first. Again, same process, copy the code, go here, go to config.yaml, and paste it down below, like that. Paste. Again, make sure to fix the YAML format. There it is. And I'll make sure to add them. Usually I like my GlazeVM to be on the left hand side. So I'm gonna add them right after the apps, like that. And we have an error. Why an error? Because we have a typo. The easiest error to fix. Alright. Okay, perfect. Now we need to add some CSS because it looks bad as hell. So I think there's a sample configuration. We can just simply copy and paste them. I think the default one is just fine. So just paste that. And actually it's not. Thanks for the follow, mate. Appreciate it. Will this be live available on YouTube? Yes, all the streams are gonna be live. All the streams. And as you can see now, that thing looks not beautiful, ugly, like super ugly. You can see the workspaces there, but it is not good. So I'm gonna actually copy that and ask ChatGPT again. So I'm gonna do, can you help me fix this CSS to look better and in alignment with my team? See attached image. I'm gonna now just make a screenshot of that so he knows that what my team actually looks like. Paste. And let's see what he's gonna give me now the data. Let's see. Thanks for the screenshot. That was his response. Okay. He gave me again a lot of code, so I'm gonna blindly replace it. Paste that, save. It doesn't look good, kind of doesn't look good. Nah, not good at all. What's gonna happen if I do my config on it? So here, GlazeVM. Let me try with my config. It doesn't look good. Nah. Is that the... Alright. How do we fix that? I'm not sure. That's gonna be more pain than I was thinking about with that specific team. Background color. Transparent, maybe? No. I don't think that's even used anywhere. Alright. What's gonna happen if I do that? Okay, perfect. Then here we can do something like not white, but black. Now I think this will be better. At least it looks better for me. How about the border? Okay. Do I want a border? I don't think we do. So no border is better, I think. And I think that's nice now. That's better. Now what happens is that if you see a black number, that usually means there is no window on this pane. And if I open anything, doesn't matter what it is, you can see the number changes, and that means I have now uh, have something on it. So that's how you can distinguish between pretty much some panes which are empty and some panes which are not. So if I'm to close anything on this pane, it's gonna become black. If I remove it, it's gonna disappear. Like the same thing with i3. Exactly the same thing. Okay, now I think it's better. I think it's much better this way. So we have the home with the templates for the settings. We have process hacker. We have mobile extern. We have GlazeVM workspaces. I mean everything can be adjusted. Of course, I don't want that to be 5 hours. Everything can be adjusted, but the main idea is to see how it looks like and what's the process behind it. Now I also would want to have the GlazeVM tiling directions. That's all something important for me. Go here to the end, same standard operating procedure, paste, fix the format. Okay, and now add them in the bars. I usually add it after the workspace. As you can see, my workspace is there, and I add it after it. So paste it there. Now it again looks super bad. So let me try to at least a little bit fix it. So let's try the default one. Paste that, doesn't work. Let's see if I have some kind of different kind of settings, but looks like I don't. That's my setting. Yeah. I mean, it's alright. You can go here, not here. You can go there. Yeah, perfect. We can do it back. It's alright. It's alright. Alright, it's something. Okay. And there it is. We have it now. So that's how it looks like. Now, one thing that are needed to be configured is that you can see now we have a bunch of empty places there. So what you can do is actually open your GlazeVM settings. So go to folder, open folder, again .galzr, and open the GlazeVM folder. Now go here to config YAML, and now scroll a little bit and you can see the other gap. Now here you have to tweak that, let's say 20 here, and then you have to reward GlazeVM. I think 20 is fine. So we have 20 from each side, and that means you have less space there. You can even do that to 50, I think. 50 should also be fine. Save, and again, reward, and there it is. We have filled all the empty space. And now the last thing I want to tweak out for the GlazeVM is that you can also make sure you can have different names, like we can call that test. There it is. Which is not common thing. I like the numeric format. So we can pretty much do that. Alright. But now what I want to tweak is that the alt enter command. So here all the time I use alt enter like that. This is gonna give me a super simple CMD window. I don't want that. I want PowerShell. So when I do that, instead of CMD, just type PowerShell. Make sure to reload your configuration or the terminal you like that. Now if I do alt enter, I have standalone PowerShell. I have my CMDR on the bottom, and I have my mobile external on the top if I need to do some kind of sessions and forwarding and so on. So in the end, you have 3 terminals which are used at will, super easy and accessible. You have everything you need, and of course you can customize that as you wish. You maybe add Maybe you want to add more applications there, more folders to here. Of course, you can tweak the CSS. Of course, you can tweak and try out different themes. But for me, that looks quite good. Now, usually one more, let's say, thing I add to Yasb Reborn that I super much enjoy is the Visual Studio Code repository. So if you open that, you're gonna see the latest projects I was open. So I can go and open the Yasb Reborn folder again. Here inside the, where was it? Config, yep, Yasb, and select folder. And out there, go to Yasb website, and here do code or Visual Studio. There it is. Here, again, same thing. Go to config YAML, paste that in here, then add it maybe after the apps, save. And of course, CSS needs to be tweaked. So let's see if the default CSS is gonna work. I'm gonna copy that, go back here, paste it. It does not. But again, with ChatGPT, and if you know some kind of a CSS, you can fix it yourself. But the idea of this widget there is that you can essentially click here. You can see the recent things you've opened, and you can directly open them. For example, now if I want to switch back and modify some GlazeWM configuration, I can simply click this button, go to GlazeWM, and it's going to open a new code window, which with the folder I previously opened, which is so badass. And now this is just the tip of the iceberg, guys. This was what I was able to cover for just 1 hour, but you can have many options. It's just mind-blowing. You have Power Menu, a fully standalone Power Menu, which looks much better than the original one from Windows. It's like that. You may wanna you can also have, let me also do that actually. You can also have a dedicated taskbar, network traffic, a server monitor. You may want to add different applications. You may want to add your disk, which also we can do. So for example, you can go to disk. I'm gonna copy that again, do the same thing here. See how smooth everything feels now. Actually not here, but here. All right. I can also maybe add the disk before the CPU itself. So disk there. And there it is, you can see how many you have in your zip. Now, from here, we can also add some CSS. So I'm going to copy the CSS from the CPU itself, which is from the memories as well, is the same thing pretty much. So memory, copy the CSS style, and here we can tweak the memory to be disk. I think by doing disk widget, I think should be fine. So here, 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 and again replace that, save, and there it is. Now it's much better. And by following that, you can pretty much do anything. There's, as mentioned, enormous ways on how you can customize your environment. You can add standalone nodes, and some of the widgets have screenshots on the very bottom of the page. For example, this is how it should look like. Or for example, you can add perhaps OBS integration, Launchpad, the home we added, GitHub notifications in case you need them. You can have an AI chat for that. You can add ChatGPT as a widget there, which you can just start and go for chat. And I think it has also a screenshot. There it is. It's so badass. It can be also connected to local Llama. So if you have a Llama instance somewhere, you can use that to directly connect on it. And it has a lot of things. Like, for real, I'm super happy with this configuration. I use it all the time. I use it on my personal system. I use it on my work system. I use it on my CommandoVMs. I use it anywhere. Now, I'm gonna do better into customizing this theme. This was just a POC So guys, you can see how I generally structure my workflow, but essentially I don't leave any icons there because if I have anything on desktop, it's generally urgent. So I generally, most of the times, I have that thing removed like that. PS script is always red because these are important. This also removed, and this can be also stored there. So if I have anything on the desktop, it's super urgent, like a file, or project, and so on. Now again, we mainly need several things for Maldev. We need a web browser, of course. We need Visual Studio or an IDE so we can work with it, and we need just a terminal. And by outsourcing the Visual Studio code there, I have much more space here and everything works super clean. I have all the time statistics about my file system, my CPU, and my RAM, and my IP, because usually when doing MalDev, I'm always like, okay, I can start a terminal, I can type ipconfig so I can see if everything's alright, but now the IP is just there, I can simply go and copy it. Now, the left-hand side is bad. I need to tweak these settings in terms of CSS, like the workspaces and the Visual Studio Code, but I think the rest is quite fine. And I think it is quite fine. So, that's about for today. Thank you for sticking by. Special thanks to my Patreon for all the support, and special thanks for everyone who is watching the video here or on YouTube. If you guys have any questions, always make sure to drop them on Discord or via the YouTube comments. It's also good. And yeah, I hope that was useful to you guys and you customize your environment to your will. Now, here, also, if you have some kind of a badass custom configuration you want to share, you can also do it in Discord. Just go there, go into a general chat, and pretty much share a screenshot of your badass configuration. No matter if it's for Maldev or not, but I generally am a huge fan of customization. So I always go for that. Yeah. Thank you so much, and I'm gonna see you in the next one, guys. This is gonna be uploaded to YouTube, so if you missed the first parts, you can go and rewatch them. Thank you, and bye bye.